my Zentangle friends. This is Barbara Langston, CZT, Certified Zentangle Teacher. I hope you're doing well, and welcome to days 27 and 28 of Inktober 2022. So after today, we'll only have 3 patterns left. Wow, that's pretty exciting. All right. So let's take a look at my sketchbook. So days 27 and 28. 27 is Narfello by Zentangle, and 28 is Poppins by Lisetta Hoffer. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Zoom in on this one a little bit. Narfello is a fairly new pattern. It's by Zentangle headquarters, and I'm going to be the first to admit that I really struggle with this pattern. In fact, this is the second time I'm trying this video because the first one I just did not like how it turned out. Before I go any further, we'll be using a Micron 01, a blending stump, a graphite pencil, and sometimes I use an eraser. I'm going to show you, basically this is what it should look like. And I did this one yesterday, actually probably this morning, practicing to try to get this down right. This is what it should look like. At the end of my video yesterday, it looked more like this, which is just an OG grid, OGEE, I think it's what they call it. And that's not what I was going for. So, like I said, when the video was finished, I decided to do it over again. When you get these right, depending on the size that you do, you can put all kinds of things inside of it. And I would encourage you, if you have a Facebook account, to go to a page called A Tangler's Mind, Lynn Mead, CZT. After this pattern came out, she did 100 days of Narfello. And if you want to see some fantastic art and ways to use this, then that's the way to go. I watched a video by Cindy Pelly on YouTube. She is the Tireless Tangler, and I watched several videos, but I think because of hers, I finally figured it out how to do Narfello. So I will try to remember to put a link to her video in case you want to watch that. I can't imagine doing 100 days of videos, but she did it. And that was 2021, and I think she did it in 2020 also. Anyway, let's practice Narfello. It starts with a wavy line, kind of an S curve. And they don't have to be the exact same shape all the way down. And then we're just gonna R that. It is important to have wavy lines, but not necessarily important to have them the exact same width or an exact duplicate on that aura. Okay, let me do one more, and then I'm going to show you, hopefully this time, the right way to do this. Excuse me. And I want you to imagine that you are a skier. Okay, so you're skiing, and you're going to ski off of this hill, but then when you land, you want to be on this hill going this way. Okay, when I think of it like that, for takeoff and landing, which is a technique that they talk about quite often in Zentangle. When I think of it that way, then I finally get it to come out right. So here we are, we're going to ski, and we're going to take off of this hill. We're going to come up on that arc, and then we're going to come down and we're going to land so that we're getting ready to go in that direction on this hill. So let's do it again. We're going to take off. We're going to come around this way and do a slight curve so that we're coming up on that hill. Same here. Take off, curve, and come up on that hill. All right, so coming back in the opposite direction, now that you're on this hill, you're going to do the same thing. We're going to take off of that hill, do a slight curve, and land on that one. Coming up on this one, slight curve, and land there. Take off and land. I think it looks better with a slight curve. So going back in the opposite direction, here's our first line, our first wave. Take off, head for this hill, and curve up. Come off of this one, take off, and land. Coming off of this one, take off and land. All right, so let's do that just a couple more times. We're taking off and landing. We're coming off of that first wave, take off and land. This was your wave. We'll take off and land. Come back this way, here's your wave. And come off of that and land. Come off of that one and land. We'll go back on this one. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. We're trying to get kind of this wavy pattern. All right, we're going to finish down here, take off and land, take off and land, off and land. And then if you wanted to, you could come off of this one and end it like that. And I'm just going to leave that one up there at the top, but hopefully that helps. This does look more like this grid than this one. This is an OG grid. An OG grid is simply wavy lines that come back and forth, and then you just mirror it like this. Okay, that's not what we're trying to do here. So that's why that video failed. I'm gonna try it again. All right, I didn't pick out my tile, so there's one and there's one. And let's do it on this one. All right, we'll zoom in a tiny bit more. And it's a little bit of a challenge to do it on a bijou tile, but let's do this. So we're just going to do our wavy lines. And then we're going to mirror it. Well, not mirror it, aura it, sorry. And you do want to have your waves. They don't have to be exact. They don't have to be the exact same width. But it is important that you have these little hills and valleys going back and forth. Okay. Now our person is ready to go ski. So we're going to take off this hill, make a slight curve, come down to this one. And this is how they do it in the step outs, is like one little row at a time. And then we're going to come off of these hills, take off and land, take off and land. The little curve. All right, that one's a little skinny, but it's okay. Okay, so here was our initial wave. I'm going to come off that hill, make a curve and land. And come off of this one, curve and land. All right. I think it's looking much better. Here's our final one. Like I said, they don't have to be any specific way that you land or take off. I'm trying to see if I can end this one. I get confused on these. We can just leave them open down at the bottom. That'll be okay. All right, one of the things that you can do is what I was trying to do here was just put some auras inside. And these, what I'm going to do is an anchored aura, which means it always starts in the same place. So I'm going to come back to that beginning, make another aura, come around. Right? And then I'm just going to add a little bit of hatching in each end. Let's do this one. So we're going to start at that narrow point and then come out and end at that narrow point. Do that again. Then come up and then add a little bit of hatching there. And let's see what happens if we skip a line. We're going to leave that one blank. Lynn Mead is a fantastic artist. And she has a website called A Tangler's Mind, where you can find just so many great ideas. And I was just amazed with her 100 days of Narfello. And when I was listening to Cindy Kelly, that's her name, the Tireless Tangler, I was watching the whole video to see how she did some different things and see how she did some shading. And she mentions my name in that video. I was pretty shocked. I don't remember exactly when her video came out, but she said that she had just discovered my channel. So that was pretty cool. I was at CZT 34 And I believe Cindy was at CZT Seminar 32. But I believe she has some health issues right now and she hasn't done any videos lately. Okay, and I'm putting a little bit of hatching in the corners. Just adds a little bit of drama there. Like I said, if you make these big enough, you can put all kinds of patterns inside. Okay. I'm going to decide whether or not to add one here. I'm just going to leave it for now. I might come back later and do it. I'm going to add just a little bit of graphite next to where I put the hatching. My brain did. And then soften that a little bit to push it toward the center. And if you're doing this on a darker sheet of paper like craft color, you could even put some white charcoal in the center. I'm not sure if this will show up. It shows up a little bit on the camera. This one will definitely take some more practice for me, but there you go. There's Narfello. And the next pattern is Poppins by Lisa Hofford, CZT. And this is an easy pattern. Hooray! I need an easy one. Find a piece of paper. And this one is really simple. And you can do it two different ways. The way that the step out shows is she makes kind of a U shape. And this is the bottom of a poppy flower pod or the seed pod. Okay. And then she puts the top of the flower. Right. And then from the center, we're going to put lines that go to the tip of each. And if you go to tanglepatterns.com, then she has a photo of one of these seed pods, and this looks almost exactly like that. And then she puts stem, and for shading, you can just put your pencil very lightly down and then soften that. But you can also, and this is a shading tip, you can also just put a lot of graphite on a scrap piece of paper, which is what this is, and then pick that up with your blending stump or tortillon, and then you get that very soft look. Okay. And then the other way to do it is to just put the flower first. And put your lines. And I do believe I counted on the actual poppy flower that there's like 10 of these. Anyway, you can do the flower and then put the little pod underneath like that. So whatever works easiest for you, and add the stem. All right. So here's the tile I'm going to use for that today. And I'm going to go ahead and put my flower up here. Right. I like to put a little dot in the center. All right. And then at the very tip, I'm just adding a little bit of weight, almost like a little triangle at the tip of each of these. Oops, sorry. Okay, so that's how that ends. And then I'm going to put the bottom of the pod and the stem. Okay, so let's try another one over here. Put your dot in the center. And since these are all monotangles, there's not a whole lot more that, I'm adding to any of these, but this would go really nicely in a organic or botanical tile. And I just noticed when you do this, it ends up almost looking like little hearts. All right. Here's the bottom. This one's going out that way. And one more. I've ended up with like 8, I think, on each of these. I've seen them with 6, I've seen them with, you know, probably up to 10 little petals coming on. I was trying to do that because that's what I saw on the photo, but I think it gets a little crowded, so 8 or less is probably good. All right, so now let's do some shading. And like I said, you can use your little puddle of graphite, or you can just very lightly come with your pencil and put down a line. And I'm going to put some graphite under the stem and a little bit where the top of the flower goes over this pod down here. And then just lightly soften your lines. And I'm also going to put a little bit of graphite right in the center of these flowers. Okay. So for this one, I'm going to pick up some graphite off of this. If you want that darker, that's fine. Oops. We put some in the center. A little bit under the stem. Oh, sorry, I'm almost coming off. And then the same thing down here. I'm just going to softly add these lines. All right, so that is Poppins. Comes from a poppy plant. And a better version of Narfello. And I also want to mention again on Poppins, I saw where someone had put some actual lines, and this is bead line. And I thought that was kind of cute. All right, let's add that to my frame. And I hope that helps you on Narfello, because like I said, it took me a while to figure that one out. And if you saw my scrapbook or my sketchbook, you would see I practiced it many times. All right, 3 to go. I'll do 2 for the next and one on the last day and kind of put it together and see what we think. Here's our hashtags. I appreciate it if you use one of these. I've seen a lot of people using that, and I appreciate that because it makes it easy for me to see the work that you've done. I hope you're having fun. If you don't get these done this month, it's okay. Use these videos to learn at any time how to do these patterns and then put them together on a tile. All right, I have a video coming again in 2 days. I appreciate those of you who are sticking with me. If you're new to this, please subscribe and hit the like button. It helps support my channel. I appreciate you, and I will see you again soon. Bye.